Hi, this is John at World Development Systems. Now, it's a good idea to watch this video before you start downloading and installing the software. There's a few useful tips here that wouldn't necessarily occur to you or your technical support person beforehand, so this will save you a bit of time. What I'm going to cover in this video is prerequisites, so just a couple of pointers before you start, downloading and installing the setup program, the potential need to add a Microsoft component called Net8. Don't worry, that's easy, I'll walk you through it. Creating a shortcut on the Windows Start menu and or the taskbar so that we can run the One app. And finally, I'll just mention how to deal with One software updates. I'll just mention at this stage that I'll put a display card up between each section so that if you're scrolling through to get a place that you want to go to, then you'll be able to find it more easily. So, let's get started then. Number 1. Ensure all Windows updates have been applied. Now, this is particularly important if you've purchased a new computer to use with the One system, or if you're using a computer that hasn't been used for a while. When you buy a new computer from a store, or an online company like Amazon or Microsoft or Dell, then the boxed computer has often been sitting on a shelf for a period of time, and the version of Windows that it has loaded might be several months out of date. When Windows switches on, it checks to see the current date and compares it to when it last looked for updates. If a certain period of time has elapsed, then it just gets straight on with downloading and installing any updates that are available. So if you're trying to install the One software, or any Windows programs for that matter, then there is a chance that your program may refuse to install because updates are already taking place, or that it's waiting to reboot. So the best thing to do is to go to the Windows Update page and see if any updates are running. If you see a message saying that Windows Update has not been run yet, then it's still a good idea to tell it to run now and get that out of the way. Once the updates have been applied, then your computer will have restarted itself. Honestly, when this happens, it is still worth going into Windows settings and still checking for more Windows updates. It's not uncommon for 2 or 3 rounds of this to be needed when you have a new computer. And if it's not a new computer, then you should still check whether the computer is waiting to reboot because of any pending updates. Microsoft makes new updates available once a month, so if you happen to catch it within that period of time, then you're going to get caught and your One program may not install. Number 2. Avoid buying a Windows 11 PC with S mode. From what I've observed, if you buy a Windows 11 computer, usually online, even from a reputable reseller like Amazon, then there is maybe a 10% chance that you will find that you have purchased a version of Windows that runs in S mode. Certainly when taking support calls from customers who have said they cannot install any one of the WDS software products, I've investigated and found that the reason is often because they have an S mode computer. There is not much awareness that this even exists, nor what it is for, so it's not surprising that they didn't know to avoid buying it. So in this S mode edition of Windows, you can only install software that is downloaded from the Microsoft Store, and there are other restrictions on your ability to configure Windows in the ways that you or your tech support person usually would. The S stands for security, and it is more of a requirement for strong safeguards from rogue software. So the upshot is that you cannot install the One software onto a Windows laptop if it's running in S mode. The good news is that you can go through a procedure that deactivates S mode, but if you are not very technically minded, then this is just something else that's going to give you some stress. When you sign up for the subscription account and your payment has been successfully received, then you will be able to download the software. The confirmation email that you receive will contain the download link which will allow you to do this. So let's run through the process of downloading and installing. Now the link will take you to a page where you will need to enter your login credentials to get started. As you can see, there are only 2 actions that you can perform once you've logged in: buying additional One hardware units or downloading the software. So we click on the panel that says download the One software. Scroll down below this green box and click this download button with a big arrow next to it. In this example, we are looking at the Microsoft Edge browser, which is the default browser that comes with Windows 10 and 11. In the top right hand corner it shows you the name of the file being downloaded and a progress bar showing you how far it has got. The time taken to download will mainly depend upon the speed of your internet connection. At the time this video was produced, the size of the setup file is about 60 megabytes, so it might take 2 or 3 minutes to download on an average computer. On this example, the download was done on a fibre broadband connection, and so it was pretty quick. Now on this little download box, which might be shown in different parts of the window for different browsers, click on the Open File link. On other browsers it might say Run. This will load the One installer. Now I'm just going to minimise the browser so that we can focus on the installer app, and then we press the Install button and it should just run through without needing to click anything else. When the installation program is finished, you won't see anything for a few seconds while Windows organises the One files, but eventually the One program will be ready to run. Et voila, there it is. See, that was easy, wasn't it? So I'll just log in with my development test account. I don't normally type that fast, that's sped up a little bit. But then that takes us through to, there we go. That's what the home page will look like. That's all test data there, of course. Many times the One software will just go ahead and load, but sometimes after you've installed the software, you might see a message saying that something else is needed first. Now let me just explain that. The One software is built using the latest Microsoft development software to ensure that it runs as well as possible with Windows 11 or with Windows 10 for as long as that is still supported. As far as I know, they're intending to retire Windows 10 in mid-2025, but who knows, we may have a Windows 12 by then. I honestly don't know. At the time of recording this, Microsoft haven't announced anything. However, a consequence of this is that Windows sometimes needs to pull down additional components from the internet for their own apps to work. One such situation is occurring with the latest build of the One software, as it requires something called, and you'll never need to remember this, the Net Desktop Runtime version 8. Now, there is currently nothing that we can do to build it into the install program, so when the latest version of the One software loads, it checks whether Net 8 is present. Fortunately, if it's not there, it gives you a pop-up box which asks you to install it. So when the One software loads the first time, it might ask you to install or update Net 8. That depends on whether any other program that you've installed has already needed it and therefore installed it itself. If it is needed, then it gives you a simple button to push to kick this off. A bit of technical detail there when you push the See Details link. So click on Download It Now, and that brings up a Microsoft web page. Now hopefully, as you'll see here, that up in the top right hand corner it shows that a download has already started. There it goes. That's the Net 8 file that you need coming down. If for whatever reason that fails, then the direct website link address is shown just here, so that you can copy it to your Windows clipboard and use it again if you need to. So up here you should click on the Open File link, and this will then run the Net 8 setup program, and then press the Install button to kick it off. So then finally we can see that installation was successful and the One program should run okay next time. Which of course it will, you know. Okay, let's start here. So this is a very empty Windows desktop. I've set it up this way for this demo. Now this is an example of how your desktop could look if you have installed the One software. There's nothing here that indicates the One software is actually there. Everybody has a different desktop, in some cases filled with lots of icons and in other cases with very few icons. However, if you have installed software before, and especially earlier WDS products like eLibra or Computer Clear, then you will know that we used to install a desktop icon, same as most software developers do for their apps. The reason we haven't done so for the One software is because of a new Microsoft policy to stop unwanted icons polluting, in their words, the desktop space. So basically, we as software developers are now prevented from adding an icon to the desktop via the installation process. This lack of an icon can be confusing for many people, and I wish they hadn't done it, but they have. So this part of the video explains how to deal with that. So what you can do, which we can't do for you, is to create a shortcut. As a regular Windows user myself, I personally put the most frequently used shortcuts on the taskbar, which is this section at the very bottom of the desktop with a few common applications in. You can see I've put a shortcut to the Windows Notepad app on the end because I use that a lot. Placing a shortcut somewhere is called pinning. Other than the taskbar, the main part of the Start window has an area for pinned apps, which is how they prefer shortcuts to be arranged. So let's see how you can run the One program. The way that Microsoft decrees that this will work is that you go down to the search box next to the Start button here and then begin typing in the app name. So let's click in the search box and start to type in One space System. By the time you get to the first letter S, you should see that Windows has predicted what you were going to say from the list of installed apps and is showing that in a list. Incidentally, it also pulls up a few internet suggestions that match the value that you were typing in as well, in addition to a few recently used files that have had the same search string. So it's all a bit of a collection of different suggestions. Now, when the one entry in the list is selected, you will see that you have a list of actions that you can perform down the right hand side. Top of this list is that you can open it, which actually means in our case to run the program. That's actually very quick and you can get used to doing it this way very easily. The same technique can be used for all the other apps that you've got installed on your PC, so you could just type in Word or Excel and it'll load. You can pin to the taskbar. Now when I do this, you'll see that the One icon appears on the list of icons at the bottom of the screen. So let's just pin it, and there it is. So you can click that now and it will open the app anytime you push that. Alternatively, or as well, you can create a shortcut to the pinned section of the Start menu by clicking Pin to Start. Then if you go to the Start menu, then you can't see it. The reason is that the pinned area is in two parts, so you need to switch the view from the top part to the bottom part, which you can do by pressing either of these tiny dots to the right of the icons. Clicking the lower dot shows you the lower panel, and there it is. I don't think this is very intuitive, which is why I'm taking the time to explain this to you. I am a bit worried about getting too technical beyond this point, but you can actually click and drag the icon upwards all the way up to this panel which appears, which represents the upper panel. So if you drag and then drop the icon, you can position it to the top part of the icon menu so that it can be the first thing you see when you open the Start menu. But you can see now why I suggest pinning to the taskbar if you're not very confident with this. Sometimes when you load up the One program, you will see a message telling you that there is a new version of the software. Now I don't recommend that you let this update run if you have a client due in 5 minutes, just in case there is any kind of a problem. Just make a mental note that there is an update ready so you can run it later. And of course you will see this message every time you start the One program, so you will be reminded. And also of course on the home page of the One app itself, there is a software version information panel, and this will also display that there is an update available, so you can press the Install Now button to perform that task when you are ready. However, if you are responding to the initial message when you load the One program and you want to proceed, then simply press the Yes button. You will see a screen like this spring up, which will show you your currently installed version and also what the new version is called. Just press the Update One app button and it will automatically download the new update. Once this setup file has been downloaded, then the program will automatically go ahead and run it. So press the Update button when you see it. Once the update has been applied, then the One program will automatically load again. In this case, it might take a few extra seconds to load, as it has a bit of configuration work to do the first time it is loading. If you get any kind of a problem, then it is most likely to be solved by restarting Windows and then trying to run the One update again. So that's it for this video. I hope you found it informative. If you do have any technical issues or questions, then send us an email at tech-support@wds-global.com or fill out the contact us form on the One website and that'll get to us quickly. But that's it for now. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.